Hello and welcome to lesson number 10 in how to read music. And today's lesson will be all about those acronyms. And you'll discover the acronyms for the lines and the spaces on both the treble clef and the bass clef. And these acronyms will help you just jog your memory if you happen to forget what is the name of a particular note. So again, if you have any questions, please post them in the Facebook group and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, these acronyms are really old school. They're what I learnt when I first started piano when I was 4. And I had group lessons when I was 4 and individual tuition when I was 5. And we'll start with the treble clef first, and we're going to go to spaces initially. And if you recall, there were 5 lines on the staff. So actually, a staff alone is not going to be enough for identifying notes. As you know, you have to have a sign on the staff, whether or not it be a treble clef or bass clef. On this occasion, we have a treble clef, and we have 5 lines, and at the moment we're going to discuss the spaces. So these are the gaps in between the 5 lines, and there are 4 spaces in between those 5 lines. And we use the acronym called FACE, F-A-C-E, which just simply spells face. And if you can just think of face, then you'll remember the names of the letter notes and the spaces in the treble clef. So the first space, any note in the first space is going to be an F. And any note on the second space is going to be an A. A note on the third space will be a C, and a note on the top space, the fourth space, will be an E. So here you can see that I've coloured in the note on the very first space in green. And I've written the letter name F next to it and put an arrow pointing from the letter name to the note on the staff. I've also put an arrow on the left-hand side pointing to where the F is on the piano keyboard, so you can sort of match it up. So you can see in your head where it's written on the sheet music, and then know in your head if you see any note, any circle that's on the first space on the treble clef, then you need to play the F note. And so that F there is going to be the F just directly above middle C. And then again for the second space, I've coloured in that note as well. And this one I've coloured in purple. And I've got an arrow from that note to the letter name A, and an arrow from that letter name A to the A which is on the keyboard which you'd play. So they are on even intervals as well for F-A-C-E. So you've got a space, then of course there would be another note if you were to put a note on a line. So you always jump a note to get to the next note on the space. I think that's pretty explanatory. If you just have a look at this diagram and get familiar with it, then you'll be able to remember that. So in the next 5 days, you have an exercise to make 2 drawings. Draw your own staff for the treble clef. Draw your notes, draw the circles on them, label them with the letters F-A-C-E, and if you have felt tip pens, colour them in as well. Do the same, draw your own keyboard, put the circles, the notes on the keyboard where they should be placed, and then using an arrow, link up the piano keyboard to the staff. And take photos of your homework that you've done and place them onto the private members Facebook group so I can track your progress. Now moving on to lines. Now we do have 5 lines. And the acronym we use here for the treble clef is EGBDF. And you'll see I've got little lines I've used as the round circles to be the notes. And I've written in the letter names next to them as well. So EGBDF, well, we've got, I've drawn a piano keyboard here. I've rotated it, and I've put the little circles to show the notes on the piano, where it would be on the piano keyboard. So the first line is E, and that's just above the middle C. So the E is actually, if you find on the piano keyboard, if you find the 2 black keys, then the E is going to be to the right of the second black key. Then on the G, that's exactly, you jump a note. There's a note between E, F and G. Between E and G, there's a note F, so you need to skip a note. And so you can see that I've drawn that note and coloured it in blue. And I've got an arrow pointing from the G on the staff to the G on the piano keyboard. I've done the same for B. I've also done the same for D and also for F. So what does it stand for though? Well, it stands for every boy, every good boy. So it's only the good boys. Every good boy deserves food. Now this is what I learned as an acronym when I was younger, but I've come across other people that have learnt another expression, and the acronym they use is for EGBDF, is every green bus drives fast. So you can choose to use whichever one you prefer. So I learnt it as every good boy deserves food, so that's what I use. But if you prefer to use every green bus drives fast, then by all means do that. And in the next 5 days, make 2 drawings of the staff with the treble clef, and put the circles on the lines this time. So put 5 lines, put the circles on the 5 lines, write the letter name next to the note, and then get your piano keyboard, draw that, put the notes on the piano keyboard, and use an arrow to link the two. And as before, take photos of the homework and upload it to the Facebook group so I can keep track of your progress. Now we're going to go to the bass clef and to the lines. So as you have in the treble clef, you've also got 5 lines in the bass clef. And they're going to be labelled GBDFA. So if you notice, it's really similar. It's just the lines have sort of moved down, but what we used for the treble clef is we had EGBDF, which was every good boy deserves food. Now this one here, you're actually starting with the first line as G. So instead of starting with E, you start with G, but it carries on in the same sequence as GBDFA. And then I've drawn the notes also on the piano keyboard in the bass clef. So showing where the notes are there. So get familiar with it. And so the acronym stands for, in this case, good boys deserve food always. So it's good boys deserve food always. So instead of starting with the treble clef, it was actually every good boy deserves food. Well, in this case, it's good boys deserve food, and then at the top you add the A in, which is for always. So good boys deserve food always. Now, another exercise for you to do in the next 5 days is to make 2 drawings. Draw your staff with a bass clef on it, draw your 5 notes on the lines, put the letter names next to them, draw your piano keyboard, draw the notes on the piano keyboard, and use an arrow to link them from the piano keyboard to the staff. And take photos of your homework and upload it to the Facebook group. Now we're going to go into spaces, and this one is different, and it's on the spaces, the 4 spaces in between the 5 lines from the bass clef. I've got some photos there of grass and cows. So the acronym is ACEG. I wonder if you can guess just by looking at this photo what it's going to stand for. So it's A, C, E, G. So that's the acronym for any notes appearing in the spaces of the bass clef. And we've got the piano keyboard on the left-hand side there. So I've also drawn the notes on the piano keyboard and used arrows to link them from the staff to the piano keyboard. And that acronym stands for All Cows Eat Grass. So your exercise for the next 5 days is to make 2 drawings again. This time you've got a bass clef. I need you to draw the notes in the spaces. So draw your notes in the spaces, 4 spaces in between the lines. Write the letter names next to the notes. Draw the notes on your piano keyboard and use an arrow to link the notes from the piano keyboard into the notes on the staff. Take photos of your homework, upload it to the Facebook group. So do the work, make it real. Draw your staff and label it with the treble and bass clefs, and draw your note middle C, and then your notes. And then you draw your treble clef, G clef. Draw your note G on the treble clef and your note F on the bass clef. Draw your keyboard and name the keys as above. Then write your letter names below the keyboard and match the notes on the keyboard to the letter notes you wrote on your staff. That's for you to be able to identify instantly. So I want you to be able to draw the treble clef and draw the treble clef and the bass clef. Now you need to draw a middle C in between the two stars to center it. Then what I would need you to do is to draw a G on the second ledger line of the treble clef, and that's your base for your G clef. On the bass clef, I'd like you to draw a note on the fourth line of the ledger, which is the F note, and that's to base your F clef, or on the bass clef. Once you've done that, then you can sort out your acronyms. So you can then write in your notes for the treble clef lines, every good boy deserves food, and on the spaces, FACE, go into the bass clef and write your acronyms for the lines, good boys deserve food always, and then write the acronyms for the spaces, which is all cows eat grass. You need to sort of have this, be able to shoot it out straight away without even thinking. So practice drawing these over and over and over, and then that's the basis for you to be able to read music. Okay, congratulations, you've made it to the end of lesson 10, and that is the end of the course. So what I do need from you now is to see all of your homework under the relevant lesson photo that I put up on Facebook. I need to see all of it there, and to see that you all understand what is going on with reading music. Do let me know any questions you have, and then I'll be posting up more exercises and quizzes for you to do a bit later on, for you to cement your understanding before you can then move on. And once I can see that you've gone through everything and that you then understand how to read music, then you'll be able to go on to the next level, which will be grade 1 music theory. So congratulations on coming this far, and well done.